Mr. Bill O'Reilly. How are you, sir?
Hey, how you doing, Beck?
Good. You know, I was talking to you, and I couldn't remember if you said this on the air or if you told me this off the air, but this is kind of what you said would happen if they settled or lost the Dominion case. You said you thought there would be a lot of house cleaning at Fox just because of the monetary damage. Do you think that's what happened to Tucker Carlson?
No. It was a look to the future. So, you know, it's a shame that we live in a country where the reporting is so lazy, sloppy, and dishonest because of agenda. That's number one. And, you know, I appreciate you having me on the program, and I appreciate your listeners actually trying to figure out what's going on because it's important. You know, the Fox News channel led to Donald Trump being elected president. That's a pretty strong historical situation.
Yeah.
Donald Trump would not have been president if not for the Fox News channel.
Agree.
So now that's gone. I mean, Trump doesn't have that. He doesn't have that advantage in this upcoming election. So that's the big story here, other than the personalities. Now, shoot me the questions you want to know about what happened, and I will tell you what I know, which is most of it.
Okay, so then tell me the story. What happened?
Well, the company itself is in turmoil, not because of the Dominion settlement. They can well afford the $800 million because of people like you and me, which made them countless dollars in the past. So they got a $4 million war chest. It was the future lawsuits that led to Mr. Carlson's demise. And he didn't even know it, by the way. He had no clue. So yesterday at this time, 24 hours ago, the Tucker Carlson producers were in their morning meeting setting the lineup for Monday night. So all this bull about they made the decision on Thursday, last Thursday or Friday, it's all a bunch of crap. Mm-hmm. Okay, and
well,
they
might have made that decision.
No, they didn't, Beck.
Well,
there's only one guy who could make that decision.
Yeah, Rupert.
One. That's it.
Yeah.
Nobody else had anything to do with this decision other than to tell him.
Agree.
Yeah, you should get rid of Carlson. Carlson didn't have a lot of allies because nobody does. There's no Tammy Wynette in television news standing by your man.
No.
Okay?
No loyalty.
If the seas get choppy, you drown. And they'll help you drown. They'll throw you overboard. So, anyway, the reason that Rupert Murdoch made the decision was because his lawyers, Fox News lawyers, are saying, we got a lawsuit by this producer who came in and taped everything. So what does that tell you? It tells you she came in with an agenda, perhaps a plan, all right? Not unusual in these days. I'll tell you what, it's unbelievable what's happening in corporate America. But they have a lawsuit already filed in New York City. Apparently they have tapes that the lawyer for the woman says, we might put them out there. And those tapes do not make the Carlson broadcast look good. Number one. Number two, 60 Minutes Sunday night. Who's there? Ray Epps. Hey, Ray. Yep. Ray looking into the camera going, hey, Tucker Carlson ruined my life and the rest of my family.
It's a lawsuit.
What do you think is going to happen now, Beck?
Lawsuit.
You bet. You bet. Big one. Then you have Smartmatic. You've already gone over that, the other voting machine company, which really isn't that big a concern because they only had one county, L.A. County, that they did business with in the last election. So they'll get paid off, and it's not a big deal. But then they have the shareholders, the people that bought Fox News stock, that company's stock, and they're getting hammered, and they're going to sue people inside Fox News. That means board members, that means the Murdochs, that means all of those people for fraud. And that's going to be massive.
It's interesting to me that BlackRock just increased by, I think, 14% their holdings of News Corp, but they did it back in February.
Yeah, I don't know if that's a good play now. I'm not sure. And so all of this is kept from the American public. They don't understand the political implication, which this hurts the Trump campaign big time. All right? And the business equation that was made, and that caused the removal of Tucker Carlson. It was, as they say in The Godfather, it's business, not personal, Sonny. Okay?
So, Bill, how is this hurting the Trump campaign just because you think that this will really hurt Fox in ratings?
No, because in 2016, and I was there, I did the first interview with Trump after he announced he was running for president. In 2016, the Fox News channel was very favorable to Donald Trump, and the ratings skyrocketed. And he had access to almost every program to say what he wanted. I gave him the hardest time. But basically, the whole operation was pro-Trump and anti-Hillary. Now, the operation doesn't want Trump to be president, all right? And their viewership, already on the decline, and pretty seriously in the 25 to 54 range, as we discussed last time I was on the program, is going to be a free fall, an absolute free fall. They don't have anybody to put in at 8 o'clock, so that's the most key slot. There isn't one program on Fox News Channel that's growing in the ratings, not one. They have no bench, and most importantly, everyone who works there is frightened. So you do the math, Beck.
What do you think of, I've heard a lot of people are canceling Fox Nation because he was a big part of that, did documentaries, et cetera, et cetera. How do you think their online is going to do? Because
all I can tell you is that last night, BillO'Reilly.com picked up 400 new premium members.
Yeah, we're seeing an increase as well. I think people are canceling Fox Nation and canceling Fox. I think there's going to be real turmoil. What do you think that Tucker does?
He's going to make a fortune.
Do you think he has a non-compete in play? And if so, for how long?
It doesn't even matter. Nobody's going to hire him in the corporate media.
No, I know that.
He's got nowhere to go there.
His non-compete would include anything electronic. You can't do electronic?
No, you absolutely can't do it. All you can do is direct competitor non-competes. So what he'll do is form his own agency like you have with The Blaze and I have with BillO'Reilly.com. He'll do a Rogan-esque podcast.
Yeah.
And he'll make a bloody fortune.
Yeah, he will. He will. Do you think he'll have the same impact that he had at Fox?
Well, look, this is what people don't understand. Again, the impact that television news has is maybe 60% less than it was.
Yes.
When I left 6 years ago. It's ironic. It's almost to the week, 6 years that I left. Because the balkanization of the news, driven by social media and the availability that people can watch whenever they want on their devices, has lessened the impact that the cables and the network news used to have. So, yeah, he's not going to be seen on a channel every night. But I could argue that in my operation, since I left Fox News, I've had 4 number-one best-selling books, tens of millions of dollars in revenue for my television operation. I've got 300 radio stations carrying my daily commentary. So you tell me.
Yeah, I will tell you that our footprint now is bigger than it was when we were at Fox, and we're having our best year ever right now, and it's just different because people are. There is no one gathering place And that's the thing with cable news, the way it was before. There was one gathering place, and you would see those on in bars and everything else. There isn't that now. And that's the
still
only
on, but nobody's paying attention to it because it's boring.
Correct.
Look, the reason that you succeed is that you're not boring, Beck. It's not because of your good looks. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, I don't know that.
Okay, but you put on a program that people tune in to listen to on the radio because they don't know what you're going to say. You don't know where you're going to go. Carlson had that same appeal. So most television news presentations, you turn on the show, you know exactly what you're going to get because you get it every night. With Carlson, his talent was that he would come after situations in a different way. Now, if I had produced his program, I would have required more discipline and not because he got himself into trouble on a number of occasions when he didn't have to. Okay, you just had to do a little bit more reporting and back up stuff a little bit more. But that's just not important. He alienated the corporate media. They got him just like they got me. I don't know about your circumstance, but surely over the years, you've had a lot of pain brought to you.
Oh, yeah.
And that's the bottom line on it. Again, these media corporations, whether it's Fox or CBS, NBC, they have no loyalty to anyone but the bank teller. Okay?
Yeah.
That's it. No matter how loyal you are, no matter how much money you made them, no matter what the circumstance is, if they feel you're a liability,
they're gone.
It's avalanche time for you.
Welcome to the one and only Megyn Kelly from the Megyn Kelly Show. She does on XM Sirius right after this program on the Triumph Channel 111. She also has her YouTube channel that you can watch her show every day, the Megyn Kelly Show on YouTube. Welcome, Megyn. How are you?
Hi there. I'm great. How you doing?
Good. So I just talked to Bill O'Reilly, and his take on Tucker Carlson was that this is because of the threats of lawsuits. For instance, Ray Epps was on 60 Minutes on Sunday. It's not only just to destroy voices, but this gravely hurts the Trump campaign as well. What is your opinion on what happened with Tucker Carlson?
Well, Bill and I have had our disagreements, but he's brilliant. However, this is another disagreement. I don't think that Fox would be scared by that Ray Epps lawsuit at all. And I also think all the reporting that they got scared by this Abby Grossberg's lawsuit, a disgruntled, fired former low-level producer for Tucker and at one point Maria, scared them even a little. She's got tapes. Okay, what does she have tapes of? People on his staff saying things. Tucker was never in the office. Tucker works from his home, either in Maine or down in Florida. He's. I guarantee you, Tucker's never had more than one conversation with Abby Grossberg. So she's not going to have Tucker Carlson on tape. And even if she did, Glenn, Fox does not fire people over random nasty comments to a low-level producer. It's certainly not their number one star. That doesn't make sense. Now, Tucker's very controversial. Tucker's in the news every week for yet another thing. It is possible Rupert reached the end of his tether for Tucker, and there are reports that there may be some emails in connection with the Dominion lawsuit that we haven't seen that Tucker that they have in which Tucker lambasts people like Rupert.
Mm-hmm.
I also find it hard to believe that would lead him to fire Tucker because
money.
Rupert's been around the block. He's a tough guy. He doesn't offend easily.
Correct.
But it is true that if they think you're getting too big for your britches over there, they're not shy about sending you a message.
So at the end of the day, do you think that's it? But I don't know. It's weird.
Look, they do have to worry about shareholder lawsuits, which are coming in now in the wake of Dominion, and it's not entirely Rupert's shop anymore. He does have a board he has to answer to. I also think that if they have any desire to sell Fox News, and there's been rumblings about that, especially once Rupert is gone. They're going to want it to be, quote, more mainstream, and getting rid of Tucker would be a good step. Getting rid of Dan Bongino would be another step. Maria Bartiromo might be another one, though I'm told Rupert absolutely loves her. So it's probably not an accident she didn't go, even though they just paid out $800 million in connection with some of the things she said. So I don't know. But that makes sense to me. But I'm told by people who are in a position to know, no sale pending, no seller kicking the tires at the moment.
Now, there is something else going on. They're going into negotiation for their cable news contracts. I think that might play a role.
You know, that always comes up, but it takes a lot for these cable providers to tell somebody like Fox, we're not going to carry you because of the controversial man at 8. I mean, I just don't believe it. Tucker's too much of a draw with the audience, and it would have to be a uniform position by, DirecTV and Time Warner Cable and all of these people, which it wouldn't be. Fox is too much of a moneymaker for the cable providers too. I don't know what happened, but I do believe there's no way it happened without personal sign-off by Rupert.
So you left at the height of your career to go to NBC. I left, arguably, at the height to start the Blaze, which was crazy insane. Tucker is gone now, but I don't think he's going to get a mainstream cable network or show, and I don't think he would want it. But now there's endless opportunities for him to make gobs of money if that's what he's looking to do, and to have a real impact, just not with any corporation, right?
Yes. He'll be financially even better off once he goes on his own. I mean, I have no doubt of that. If he's smart, Tucker will do a subscription show where he never has to worry about advertiser boycotts again. You always have to worry about lawsuits. You have to say factual, but there's insurance for that and so on. But I think he'd probably do a subscription service, and if he goes directly from Fox, he'll be well positioned to just crush it. I don't think he'll wind up signing up with a larger media ecosystem, whether it's the Blaze or the Daily Wire, or I just think he's gonna, if he does it, he'll do it on his own. Just knowing Tucker. But look, there are certain trade-offs. You and I are in the unique position of having worked, at the very, very top of this cable company, and then gone off on our own. For sure, your influence wanes in some ways. I don't know that Tucker's going to have Ron DeSantis personally crafting his Ukraine policy to please Tucker if he's hosting a digital show.
Right.
There's something about the Fox powerhouse that makes a lot of these politicians bend the knee, and Tucker in particular in that role. However, it's also the case that, who's more influential, Ben Shapiro or Wolf Blitzer?
Right.
Like, we could go down the list. There are Your Voice, Ben Shapiro's, Joe Rogan. A lot of these voices in the digital space are much more relevant than 95% of the cable news anchors. So Tucker will have a bit of an influence drop in that way, but he will no longer have to do Fox's bidding. He will be able to cover whatever story he wants in whatever way he wants. And believe me, though the outside world might not know it, there were constraints put on him by Fox News. And there were things that he wanted to say that he couldn't because you're not allowed to shoot inside the tent. And he can be free now to just say whatever he wants as soon as he gets out of his non-compete.
I will tell you that while it doesn't seem like your influence is as big, something has happened to me on influence in the last 6 months. I was at a store before Easter, a grocery store, and my wife said, "Oh, we forgot this. Can you go back and get it?" I had to come back to the checkout counter, and I said I couldn't get it. I was stopped too many times, and my kids have said, "Dad, what's going on with you?" Because I'm being stopped so much now. Thank God, in a positive way, because I live in Texas. But you just don't recognize the influence because it's not in one place. Does that make sense?
Yes, well, I'll tell you the other thing. Ben Shapiro said this to me when I was trying to decide what my next move would be after NBC. And he said, which is true, cable news is a dinosaur. It's dying. And only very, very old people are watching it.
Yeah.
And he said, if somebody stops me on the street who's over the age of 50 and says, oh, I love your work, I always know they know me from Fox News. Mm-hmm. And anybody under that age, I know they know me from my podcast.
Yes.
And I think that's true. I mean, the digital space is for tomorrow. It's much more forward-looking. Cable news has still got, some loyal viewers for sure, but not to sound like I'm 200, but the kids today are watching digital shows, YouTube, and podcasts. That's how they get their news. They don't sit in front of the television 8:00 at night anymore.
No.
That's why the advertising demo is, dropping precipitously for all of these anchors. And so I do think for our ecosphere, where you and I now are, it's great that Tucker's leaving Fox because he'll be another powerful voice, probably, in our space. And it's one less reason to tune into this stilted, let's face it, boring, predetermined way of programming the news that has to please Paul Ryan and Rupert Murdoch and Suzanne Scott. Why do we have to please them? Why can't we just deliver the news the way we want? Well, you and I now can, and Tucker's about to be there too.
Yeah. Megyn, one last question on Donald Trump. Bill said this really hurts the Trump campaign because Fox was so important the first time around.
I agree with him. I don't think it's any accident that clearly the Murdochs have turned on Trump. I mean, just read the Journal and the Post if you have any doubt.
Right.
And Tucker was an important voice for, I think Tucker loves the Trump fans. I don't think Tucker loves Trump. I believe that behind the scenes text where he was looking forward to not having to cover him every night.
Right.
But I think Tucker loves the Trump fans, and they know that at Fox. They don't have a more powerful voice who gets them than Tucker. Mm-hmm. And I don't think it's any accident they got rid of Bongino and now Tucker's going. There's not another person at Fox who gets the MAGA core the way Tucker does, and always has, by the way. Always has.
Megyn, thanks a lot. We'll look forward to your show here in just a minute. If you are listening to us on XM Sirius, the Triumph Channel, 111, she follows this program, and she's always great. You can also get her wherever you get your podcasts, or you can watch it on her YouTube channel.